Now I would like to talk about the seasonal artifact. So the seasonal artifact is split into a bunch of different categories that I have set up. We have your stasis things, you got your solar things, you got your strand things, then you have some more like neutral stuff. Then we have elemental pickups, and then like there's a couple of weapon perks. We're not really going to be going over like any of these, like they are what they are. They don't really do a ton of build crafting stuff. So I just want to like go over some of the traits here and just kind of have some discussions about what is going to be possible for the next 6 months, or at least until the artifact expands. So when it comes to stasis, as we said earlier, there are 5 different perks that are available, but 4 of them are all while Frost Armor is active. So while Frost Armor is active, stasis weapons get reload speed stability, swords get some guard resist. While Frost Armor is active, taking critical damage does an AoE freeze around you and gives Frost Armor to everyone near you, including yourself. While Frost Armor is active, melee recharges faster, deals more damage. While Frost Armor is active, stasis precision kills essentially do like Firefly, but like stasis version, where like it'll freeze stuff as well. And then rapid precision hits with stasis weapons give Frost Armor. So Frost Armor did get a buff a little while ago, and it is better. It's definitely better than where it used to be. But a lot of stasis things across the different classes don't really revolve around Frost Armor that much. Like Warlock, for example, is still like Bleak Watcher, right? Titan is still, they're just kind of all over the place. And then Hunter has like a couple of things as well, right? So this to me, with like so much stuff revolving around like weapons, like rapid precision hits giving Frost Armor, stasis weapons getting stats, stasis precision kills giving you Firefly, like that to me all revolves around trying to focus more on weapon usage. Yeah, we can bring up Icefall Mantle real quick. Quick description. While you have a stasis super equipped, rapid stasis final blows give you Frost Armor. You heal a small amount whenever you gain Frost Armor, replaces your class ability with a burst of stasis energy that freezes nearby combatants, slows nearby opponents, and grants you increased Frost Armor. So I did a build on Icefall Mantle, I think somewhat recently, and I did like it. Let me grab it here. Yep. After 4 years, this Titan Exotic is finally kind of good. And that was 8 months ago. So it's been a minute, but that is definitely going to be something to consider with some sort of a Titan setup. And I did like it. Like, it's fun going in to like AoE freeze a bunch of enemies and stuff like that. And so this is going to work somewhat nicely with a bunch of the wall Frost Armor active, because that's just what it does, right? It is Frost Armor, but you need to have a stasis super equipped, right? Which the Titan stasis supers are, I mean, super is like day to day. It's fine. You just got to be okay with that, right? So like weapon wise, you know, some people might be looking at like Wicked Implement, but that is a scout rifle, and scouts do have a perk in here. Precision hits or final blows with scout rifles grants them increased reload, I'm assuming increased reload speed. They forgot a word there, and reduced incoming flinch, right? You think Wicked Implement like could probably work out there. Rapidly landing precision hits causes targets to become slowed, while creeping attrition is active, which is that. Destroying stasis crystals or landing precision final blows creates a stasis shard. And then the catalyst, collecting stasis shards gradually overflows the magazine, and it also has headstone. My only issue, again, with Wicked Implement is that it is a scout rifle, and scout rifles are they're just like not that great in the grand scheme, right? And I have been on Kepler. I have played some content in Kepler. I didn't really feel like there were a lot of long range situations on Kepler. So at least when it comes to like Edge of Fate content specifically, I'm like, ew. And here's the thing as well, is like, I know trace rifles aren't like as precision of a weapon as something like a scout rifle or a hand cannon or even pulse rifle, but Ager's Scepter is still one of the best weapons in the game. And you're putting on Ager's Scepter, rapid precision hits with stasis weapons give Frost Armor. I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of internal cooldown on that effect triggering, but like trace rifles shoot many bullets very quickly. So I fully expect there to be a lot of activity with Ager's Scepter, just because it's such a good weapon. It is such a good weapon. It is something where I could absolutely see people who have maybe pre-farmed some mobility intellect armor going in on a super and weapons style loadout and just going absolutely crazy with like the Giga Beam and all that kind of stuff. And you do have like, while Frost Armor is active, I think that's Shield Crush, which is right here. While you have Frost Armor, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. I mean, okay. For a Frost Armor setup specifically, I think you would obviously need to skew more into that sort of build. But like, when you have Agriceptor doing like Firefly freezing explosions, like that is, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So Mask of Baccharis has always been an evocative and visually fun exotic, but is largely used as a PvP tool. We've made some changes to let you play in the Fallen Captain Fantasy even more so than PvE, while also pairing well with the new stats. It's also now usable in Arc subclasses and supers. Reworked Light Shift no longer provides a non-stacking surge damage bonus, now grants 10% damage for eligible weapons, which is Stasis, Arc, and Lord of Wolves per stack, stacks up to 3 times, while active weapon final blows grant class ability energy. So effects are now active when either an Arc or Stasis super is equipped. So definitely some potential there as well. Could mesh pretty nicely with some Shield Crush for a little extra damage on your little dinkers there. But yeah, I would probably lean towards like some sort of Aggers, hold down the button and just beam some stuff and see. Did Balladors also get an adjustment or did they not? But I mean, like, I don't even remember what they do right now. Targets frozen by your Winter's Wrath super take increased shatter damage. Allies in range of your Winter's Wrath Shockwave and Frost Pulse gain Frost Armor and deal increased damage with Stasis weapons. Granting these buffs to allies gives you super energy. Yeah, I mean, like, Winter's Wrath is just, it's just kind of eh. Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely some utility. And I know they did get an adjustment. Yeah, they did get buffed at some point recently. I know that. But for like the purposes of, I'm just trying to think of like more general play. I still don't really think many people are going to do a lot of stuff with Balladors. You also have Mask of Fealty. Withering Blade hits and bounces create a small stasis crystal and refund a portion of melee energy. Using Withering Blade to shatter crystals or frozen targets releases a spread of Withering Blades. I don't remember how much I messed around with this. Honestly, the biggest note that I have about Mask of Fealty is when I try to get a bunch of footage from Leopard, and he had like some of the worst footage of all time trying to show off Mask of Fealty, where he just didn't ever actually trigger Mask of Fealty. But I mean, it does lend itself to some sort of Shield Crush type play, where if you lean into Mask of Fealty and you do like an Aggers or you do a Wicked Implement, like you're at least gonna get some amount of bonus here. So yeah, Mask of Fealty is also around. I think I have a Mask of Fealty build. I gotta double check. So yeah, I think that's it for some of the stasis stuff. So we can move to solar now. Solar didn't seem as crazy, but with the newly buffed Starfire, I think Starfire build is going to go, I think, crazy. There's like one of these. I want to get like the actual name. Here it is, Fever and Chill. Rapid precision hits with solar weapons grant Radiant. And then while Radiant, grenade recharges faster and more damage. That is, again, Shield Crush. Sustained weapon damage while Radiant or killing a Scorched target with a weapon makes them rain solar projectiles that damage and scorch. Increased damage against stasis or strand debuffed enemies as well. Strand debuffed enemies in group play, not really that difficult to make happen, right? Like Sever is still an incredibly good debuff, and it's very easy to apply if you want to spec for it. So I do suspect there will be a decent amount of usage of that particular perk, which I believe, there it is, Cauterized Darkness. It is not hard to strand debuff targets, but it is non-boss. So like, it can only go so far. Otherwise, if we go over to the Starfire Protocol buffs, Starfire Protocol, what they're doing in Starfire Protocol feels like what they did for Geomags, where they took an effect that was like, okay, but actually gave it enough juice for it to be usable. So what they're doing in Starfire Protocol is it now also activates on Radiant damage, so you don't even need to technically be in an Empowering Rift anymore. You can just get it on Radiant, right? And rapid precision hits with solar weapons give Radiant. Increased fusion grenade energy gain from dealing damage from 2.5 to 5%. So they doubled it, but they reduced the energy gain from final blows from 20 to 15% to kind of compensate for that, which is, it's fine. Geomag went from like 2%, 2 point something percent up to 7%. We all saw how ridiculous that was. In fact, like, it is so ridiculous, and I called it from a mile away, they're nerfing it. Reduce super energy gained by ionic traces to 4% from 7%. But if you spec for super, you're still going to be able to like raise that 4%. Because I assume this 4% is kind of acting as if like, oh, you have 70 stats of like whatever. So if you go above 70, like it'll go above that 4%. But like whatever. Point is, it was very obvious that geomags were absolutely berserk. Right. So let me go back to Starfire Protocol here. So also activating on Radiant, and all you need to do is land some rapid precision hits with a solar weapon to get Radiant. A lot of people think Starfire Protocol with Polaris Lance. It's coming back. The Lance is coming back because we have this, again, we have this scout perk in here. Granted, it's only one. It gives some reload speed, reduced flinch. It's not that, it's not that crazy, but I think if you are a Polaris Lance enjoyer, there's definitely plenty of places where you can make that work, right? So I do expect there to be a bit more Polaris Lance gameplay. Otherwise, there's so many good solar weapons. Like, dude, if you don't have a Nullify, first of all, you should, because Nullify is an insanely good pulse rifle with really good perk options, like so many good perk options. If you don't have a Nullify already, you should have one. You should craft one. You should get one, because Nullify is going to also be berserk. But there's a lot of good, like any halfway decent solar weapon is that can do like precision is gonna bang. It's gonna be good. Dude, Red Death, man. Red Death Reformed, that's another good weapon. You want to break out the Sunshot, fine. You want to break out the Zali's Bane, fine, right? Even some autos. You want to do some Tommy's Matchbook. I'm kind of a Tommy's Matchbook hater. I just haven't thought it's that good, although I know it's gotten buffed. Nullify is from Salvation's Edge. It is from a more difficult raid than historically speaking, but there's a lot of good solar primaries out there if you want to do that. I mean, even like Icebreaker, you know, is a good sniper for that kind of stuff. But otherwise, again, like a lot of the Radiant stuff is based on weapon damage, right? Rapid precision hits, sustained weapon damage while radiant. So a lot of it's just going to revolve around getting Radiant. And then the only other thing is, while Radiant, your grenade recharges faster and deals more damage, which is, again, Shield Crush right here. Right. Which, again, just leans into Starfire Protocol even more. So Warlocks are going to be eaten with the Starfire again, I think. Or at least, at the very least, it is something that I would mentally prepare or, like, pre-set up to be ready for Edge of Fate. At least when, you know, you get more access to the artifact. Hierarchy of Needs. I think that, didn't they say that was also getting buffed? I feel like I'm in the minority when I say Hierarchy of Needs is already like an insanely good weapon, but the problem is that you can't use it everywhere. Like in the spots where Hierarchy of Needs can be good, it is an insanely good weapon. Like so many people are like, oh, this thing sucks. Not every exotic is going to be good everywhere. I get it. But like Onslaught, for example, at least like when I was running Onslaught and Into the Light, Hierarchy of Needs was like arguably one of the best weapons in the game in that particular activity. Like Midtown Expert Onslaught, dude, it goes nuts. And I think they just buffed it, right? Didn't they say that they were going to buff it? It does need the catalyst, but like, you know, go get it, man. Go get it. It's good. It's getting a buff. We don't know what yet. Isn't it a highlighted weapon? It is a featured exotic. Guess what's also featured? Agar Scepter. What's also featured? Tommy's Matchbook, Choir of One, Polaris Lance, Ariana's Vow. Yeah, so like Agar's is going crazy, dude. And it's already so crazy. It's such a crazy game, man. It's a crazy ass weapon. Is like just because something is not on the featured exotics list doesn't mean like it's just like people are acting as if the weapon or an armor piece is not on this list, that it's like disabled in game and you can't use it. And it's just like, no, you can, man. But I'm gonna be not as toxic for the purposes of this video, because that's not really the goal. I'll be toxic in a different video. Remember when Han could make a gigantic circle when you shot a Warmind cell? Yeah, Warmind cells were so good, dude. They were so good. Anyway, okay, let's move to strand stuff. So we have two things that are while Woven Mail is active. And like Titans used to be the kings of Woven Mail. I mean, I guess they still are like very good at it, but like the main trigger that people use to get Woven Mail got nerfed by 50%. It used to be 10 seconds. What was it? You know, it was a fragment. It was Thread of Warding. It was quite literally this one. But I do think Hunters are like kind of good now. They're kind of nice with it, with getting Woven Mail. And again, they're getting a new exotic that revolves a lot around tangles. There are two tangle-based perks in here. So while Woven Mail is active, increased super and grenade stats, to be determined how many stats right here. I'm not anticipating anything too insane. I'm going to assume it's something in like the 20 to 30 range for both. And I base that on not absolutely nothing, but I tested a perk called I think it's called Proximity Power, where if you get a kill with that weapon while enemies are nearby, you gain a bit of melee stat, and it's stacked up to 3 times. And I think it gave the equivalent of around like 30 of the melee stat, something like that. And yeah, 30 is also font mods. So I'm guessing it's some sort of font mod for Woven Mail, essentially. But if you can have really high uptime with, I mean, this is just going to be, if you're running Strand, like this is just a staple. And then you have, while Woven Mail is active, melee recharges faster, more damage. So that is, again, Shield Crush. That's going to be nice for hunters with the new exotic, where you throw your threaded spike at a tangle and it triggers, and you also get a tangle back. But there's also destroying a tangle with strand damage, makes a bigger boom. That is Threaded Blast. I was right. Threaded Blast. Destroying a tangle with strand damage increases the radius of the explosion and its damage. And then creating a tangle when killing a strand debuffed target does an AoE suspend. Where was that? Creating a tangle by defeating a strand debuff target suspends nearby combatants. Yeah, this one, like, I think it sounds better than it will actually be, because creating a tangle in a very specific spot is like not the easiest thing in the world. I think you gotta pay attention a little bit more, but it's just one of those things where like you're gonna have it on in the background and you're gonna create a tangle and you're gonna be running like Heist Battleground Moon GM, and it's going to suspend like 40 enemies at once, and then you're going to pop the tangle with Threaded Blast with your threaded spike, and then that is also going to be turning into a whirling maelstrom, and then you'll have another tangle and you'll throw that tangle and create another whirling maelstrom, and then you'll grapple into that one to do a grapple melee, and it just like it'll have its pop-off moments. It'll have its pop-off moments is all I'm trying to say. But the strand stuff, I don't think is as well defined as like some of the stasis things, for example. Like stasis, there's so many things that's like, yeah, you're probably going to lock in on some kind of a weapon. Whereas Woven Mail is not necessarily always triggered by some sort of a weapon thing. There's a little more flexibility with it. I mean, hell, what's the other Titan exotic that like nobody used, because even though it's like halfway decent, it's the one with, oh my god, I'm blanking. Wishful Ignorance. Gain additional Frenzy Blade charge. Frenzy Blade and Flechette Storm briefly increase their damage with each strike. Pulses from your Banner of War return melee energy based on the number of allies healed. That one could be kind of fun. I would keep it in mind, right? I would at least keep it in mind. I know Syntheseps is like very easy to throw on, and like that's the end of it, but keep it in mind. It is featured. Let me see. Icefall Mantle featured. Wishful Ignorance featured. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of the things that are getting buffed are featured, which is probably why they locked in on I was like, what? They really out here trying to give some love to Crest of Alpha Lupin. I was like, okay. I mean, that's fine with me. So yeah, what else do we have? Yeah, let me look at this Warlock chess piece. I never got around to really doing a whole lot. Metiodoxia. Targets damaged by Arcane Needle emit a suspending detonation when defeated. Landing multiple Arcane Needles on the same target immediately triggers a larger, more powerful detonation. Defeating suspended targets grants melee energy. Arcane Needles are strong against barrier champions. There's something there, at the very least, with like Shield Crush, although it depends on how much melee energy you are getting back. But I'm a very big subscriber of the rule of knowledge, where if something truly is that level of insanely good, a lot more people will be using it, a lot more people will be talking about it, and I don't know if I'm sold on it just yet, but I will at the very least keep it in mind, right? I very much subscribe to having 47 Lamborghinis in my Lamborghini account, but that is one of those exotics where it's like, you can make it work. You can, but it's one of those like not meta defining things, at least, you know, until we get to play around with it. And sorry, I know like there's a lot of things that did just get buffed in some other patch notes that could probably be included with the artifact. So like there's probably something where it's like, oh, but with this buff, you're going to be able to blah, 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 blah. And like, I understand that. And I would like to get around to talking about a lot of these exotic changes, even if I do think a lot of them are going to be like middle of the road still. Like, I still don't know how many people are going to be using what is it? The hunter helmet with the arc staff stuff that I can't even remember the name of. Blight Ranger. I don't know if you could do enough to that. But yeah, I would like to talk about that in another video. Then we have some more neutral stuff. There's 3 individual ones. Giving allies elemental buffs gives class ability energy. For some classes, that is incredibly easy to do. Stunning a champ with an elemental weapon does a matching explosion, which applies a matching debuff. So I assume like solar would be scorch, arc would be jolt, stuff like that. Precision damage near 2 or more allies gives damage resistance, which is essentially, it's just firing line, but like defensive. Yeah, that if we're in some sort of precision damage boss meta, I mean, this is going to be outstanding. Just something to keep track of. But then we also have a lot of elemental pickup perks. There's 3 of them. The first one is just killing stuff has a chance to make an elemental pickup matching your super element, right? That is just like baseline. I want to say it's this one. Yes. No, sorry. Defeating targets has the chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super element. So just like, I feel like historically with elemental pickups, you've had to at least spec into them a little bit. But for like the next 6 months, you're just going to have a chance to make them like pop up whenever you want. And then picking up an elemental pickup or a tangle gives bonus damage to weapons of the same element. So you're just going to be making them for free and then scooping them up. You're going to scoop a fire sprite and you're just going to get more damage, right? I think we have had it as well, or at least something very similar. And then picking up an elemental pickup matching your subclass or tangle with a strand super gives energy to your least charged ability. Not as potent. It kind of feels like a recycled energy, but in the form of the artifact, this one. But it's just like a nice little bonus. So I think almost regardless of if you're going solar, stasis, or strand, you're probably going to want to, at the very least, consider some of the elemental pickup tech that is also available in the artifact. And then if you can include anything from your subclass that revolves around elemental pickups, that's only going to juice you even more. Yeah, it absolutely does depend on how much energy you're getting from this for sure. And you also got to keep in mind that it's going to scale with your stats. So like if you're not really spec'd for melee and you use your melee is going to be on cooldown all the time. And then when this triggers, if you don't have a lot of melee stat, it's not going to give you that much melee energy. It could be incredibly good, or it could be like really not that important whatsoever. So it just depends on your setup. But yeah, it is still something to keep in mind in the background. Like elemental pickups, definitely keep it in mind in the background. You just scoop it up, right? And then you have freaking this. As if rocket sidearms needed anything else, rapid non-sidearm final blows grant sidearms or a period of increased damage for a short time upon next draw. It's not even like timed. It's just take the weapon out. Although I'm sure like there's a timer on like how fast you have to like swap to a sidearm. But like as if rocket sidearms needed anything else. Incoming, this perk only affects primary sidearms. Here's the thing is like, it wouldn't surprise me if they went that direction or the effect was not as potent on rocket sidearms because they're already so good. They're already so good, man. Yeah, stasis, solar, strand are going to be the big 3. And it's not like there's no option to run arc or void or anything. Like you at the very least have shield crush, and you at the very least have some of these elemental pickup things as well that you can work with. But it is an S-themed season coming up. You are probably going to want to skew towards solar, stasis, strand. You know, arc is getting some adjustments in that, like bolt charge. There's a lot of bolt charge support right now, and a lot of that's coming down there. I also saw that there's a note where you can no longer stack Titan barricades to generate like super fast bolt charge on people, which to be fair was like a bit much and was probably going to happen at some point. So yeah, but also like, yeah, this season arc went absolutely ballistic. And I'm like, okay, it's been a little while. I'm okay with like trying out some different stuff, you know. I'll still probably have it somewhere in the back pocket in case I want to be a hero of the storm or whatever. Especially because Titans is another, like, not related to this, but Actium War Rig. Let's bring that one up real quick. Actium War Rig. Auto rifle or machine gun final blows increase their stability, ammo generation, and damage. Stacks up to 10 times. Higher stack counts expire more quickly. It's Worm God for autos and machine guns. Like, if you don't think Thunderlord is at least somewhere in the realm of possibility for M1 damage, I think that's a you thing. Yeah, and you got Choir of One, which is also, again, a fantastic weapon. So, like, War Rig could very much be on the table. Like, I would have it prepared. You know, like I don't know if there's much in the way of like stasis. Stasis machine guns are like not that great. And then like stasis autos. Where's my autos? I don't even think I own one. I don't think I even own a stasis auto. Yeah, so maybe not so much there, but like solar might have something, you know, fixed odds. You take out the fixed odds. Solar, like a more weapon focused setup. Echoes auto. I don't think I crafted it. Yeah, we'll save the exotics for like another discussion. But I just wanted to talk about the seasonal artifact at least a little bit going into this so that people can sort of mentally prep some things. I know I didn't go like super in depth into this, but like if I was going to do that, we'd be talking for like 3 hours, and I also would have needed to have done a fair more amount of research. But I at least wanted to get something on the table, even for myself, you know, to start thinking about like, hey, get the Starfire Protocol rolling. Maybe you go get one that has, you know, some of the stats that you want or what you think you're going to want for the next episode or the next season, whatever their expansion content drop. So yeah, we probably turn this into a YouTube video. So if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Thanks.